Thank you. Thank you very much, Clinch. You know, one of the headlines I recently read said he is as big as 3 of his competitors put together. That's the scale of this brand. I wanted to set a context and I wanted to understand how do I do it. And then I realized I can actually share my consumer behavior, my customer history with him and then question him on it. So I'm basically another Indian, a 30-something who shops 3-4 times a year. Most of the times I'm shopping online because I cannot afford offline. And I just want to understand, 3 days back I ordered something from one of the e-commerce sites. Is there any possibility your team can find out what color shoe that was and what is the size?
Which platform was it?
It's not your platform. I bought it from some other platform. I bought it from Myntra. They said I'm an insider and I'll get 2 days. I'll get 2 days early access to the sales.
The only way I can have their data is I need to get into their system, which is not possible. So generally how it works is if you are with an e-commerce platform, I would not know you.
Correct.
Because I might be a seller or I might be selling to a seller who sells to you.
Correct.
So I wouldn't know you per se. But I would at an overall level as a brand get a directional data on you but I would not exactly know you. I cannot target you back. Otherwise that hits their business model completely.
Good. So I scored 1 there. He doesn't know me yet. I want to throw another scenario to you. So I started shopping. I think first time I bought a pair of Puma shoes was when my mother gifted it to me in 2011. I used to study in Pune at that point of time. I bought it from Phoenix Market City. Then my mom stopped gifting me these expensive things and I had to buy it for myself. So I moved online. I ordered a few in Mumbai when I was working. And then the COVID hit us and I went back to my hometown, which is in Silchar, Assam. Now, I'm throwing this scenario to you and I'm asking you, can tech solve it? When I'm in Maharashtra, you presume I'm a Maharashtrian. You have a profile for me. Then I move to Assam, you think I'm Assamese, but I am actually Bengali and I don't even talk Assamese. I don't read Assamese. So isn't it an Indian unique problem that you have? You probably don't have this problem in other countries that you operate and you are so large. How do you address it with tech?
No, I think a lot of it is traceable, trackable, and can be used. Okay. Because what most of the brands today, which are omni-channel in their communication or their sales, would actually track a consumer through what is called a single view of the customer. So ideally speaking, if you have transacted in platforms where we own the platform, including our own store, we should be having a complete view of you with all the transactions, what did you buy, at what price points did you buy, and with mobile coming in, also a location, what time, which device you used to buy, what time of the day do you buy full price, what time of the day do you buy discounted, what time of the day you have an affinity to buy 2 products versus 1 at another point of the time. So a lot of it is actually traceable, trackable, and can be used to enhance your customer experience with the brand.
Correct. I should have actually started by saying happy birthday to you because while coming here, I saw an ad thrown to me on Facebook which said that tomorrow you are celebrating your birthday bash from 23rd onwards.
Yeah, as Puma, we have our birthday. It's not my birthday, but it is Puma's birthday.
Great.
And you must have got a message, did you?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So we are definitely tracking you.
Great. We want to understand, you already mentioned that you would have probably tracked me better had I purchased it from your own store, your own digital store. How much importance have you given to that digital experience, building it yourself? Given you are a global brand and you are acting Indian, I want to understand from you through that lens.
Well, one thing is very clear today that, you can't grow businesses in India without a digital lens, especially in the category that we are in, consumer businesses today. Digital is a very, very important part. Thanks to what you just said and what he was introducing me as, that we grew business during COVID.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is actually to do with what we had as a digital play for us. But the fact remains is that's not a pivot that we did during the pandemic.
Correct.
This is something that we adopted very early in the days, like when e-commerce was coming up, various platforms, search platforms, social platforms. We always use those platforms for outreach for our consumers. You know, we were ahead in the digital influencer journey as well.
Correct.
So it is extremely important. I think today almost 45% of our business happens on e-commerce. About 10% of that, 10% of the entire pie is on our own e-commerce platform. So, which I firmly believe can go up to 20%, even though marketplaces are very, very important in India from a consumer traffic perspective. But yeah, it is extremely important. And if you see, India was the first country in the world where we as a brand launched our own shopping app.
Correct.
And given that we are completely sold on the India digital story.
Fantastic. You know, if I read what my colleagues at ET are writing, you are going to end this year with probably 3,000 crore. And please have a round of applause. It's a global brand which has become #1 in India. You know, they're probably not #1 in other markets, but #1 in India. So, you know, one thing I want to understand, we are at Martech Asia. We are saying that we are crafting Asia's Martech story. I have been told MDs talk about warehousing, you know, sustainability, making the climate better. How much time do you spend listening to the briefs from your team on Martech?
Well, I must say one thing. I mean, not specifically talking about your event and the name of the event, but which I think is very, very relevant. And I'll tell you why the name I really think is extremely relevant to today's world. Marketing, we always knew as an art, right? How do I appeal to you? And how as a brand I connect with you, I engage with you, has a lot to do with the art of marketing, right? I mean, kind of content, kind of influence I can have, the kind of engagement, the kind of platform I can create for you that you relate to, right? It is an art. But today's marketing is a confluence of art and science, right? It is about having the ability to be effectively communicating and engaging with the audience. And as much it is today about how sharp is the way in which you target, how sharp is the way in which you personalize, and how convenient does it make for the consumer to engage with you. So marketing today's success of marketing is very much an art and science. I firmly believe in it, and I think that's the relevance for the name of your event, and I'm sure you guys have discussed a lot on this. But I can tell you that, you know, we came as a brand in India, we were behind competition. When liberalization, economic liberalization of India had happened in 1991, a lot of sports brands, fashion brands had an early entry in India. And they were global, they're still global leaders. They came into India much before us. We had a kind of a late entry. We started in 2006, picked up speed. But we would not have ever been successful in India as much as, touchwood, we have been, unless and until we would have acquired so many customers in the most efficient manner, in the most profitable manner, and we continue to appeal to a diverse set of our addressable market. And for me, personally, I've been a part of that journey for almost a decade and a half. I put disproportionate time, I would say, to your question, on both the art and science of engaging and connecting with the audience. Because at the end of it, it is a very, very important part of an important building block of business.
Correct. Absolutely. You talked about the science part. I'd like you to shed some light on the art part of it. There's impossible to spot Virat Kohli without a puma somewhere, on his body. You got Mary Kom to be your ambassador, and it was such a proud moment for somebody like me who is from the Northeast to see her. Can you address how you engage with these influencers, and what's your social tracking phenomenon? Are you constantly following it, and how likely are you to actually launch a product based on the behavior you have seen?
Well, I would say that this is all depending on the category one is in, and also the size of the business. When we started up our journey in India, it was impossible to have the captain and the most influential person in India. Virat today is clearly 210 million followers on Instagram, clearly the most followed Indian. But we would not have been able to do it. So over a period of time, we started engaging with with influencers of various levels, and we picked up speed. I think what is most important is that what you want to be as to your consumers, you choose your influencers accordingly. It is not a spray and paint.
Correct.
Influencers is not about sending gifts to 5,000 influencers who are various from micro to large influencers and just expecting them to post on social media. It is a very selected, curated choice. Today we have a very wide roster because of course of the scale that we have in, both on the sports side, like you mentioned, Virat Kohli, KL Rahul, Royal Challengers Bangalore, so many cricketers, Sunil Chhetri, Duti Chand, Mary Kom, the list goes on. And also on the entertainment and culture side with Kareena Kapoor to various, we just signed Hardy Sandhu, relevant towards the north of India. So we continue to sign relevant influencers, but authenticity is extremely important. Use of influencers just for a commercial purpose, unless and until they post content or they use your product organically often and authentic, consumers today see through that, right? This is a paid promotion, and unless and until they can see the connection, they literally don't matter to you. So to give one advice, if I had to, on influencer, it would be that what is your brand, what stage are your brand in, what category are you playing, what is your brand narrative and story, choosing an influencer or choosing influencers basis that, and slowly building that speed as your brand scales up, but always staying relevant and authentic. And I might take a bit more time on this just because it's very important, because just having the product and the brand, I have never believed in taking a footwear or a product or a shoe and saying, hey, this is Virat Kohli and this is we've always tried to build narratives around the brand.
Correct.
And I think that is super important, that you just don't put the product and the influencer together and say, hey, buy me, because consumers don't.
Correct. And were you like at some point were you calling your CMO and asking, can we go a little low on Virat Kohli? He is not scoring centuries.
Well, yes, thankfully he has had a century since then, so I'm a bit more, my voice can be a bit more, strong on this. But yeah, I mean, see, look, you have athletes across the world. You know that sports has ups and downs. You also have athletes who might just not go on forever. We had Usain Bolt when he was 16 years old.
Correct.
And we were after his retirement, he's as a part of the Puma family. And you learn to live with it. As Indians, we are extremely emotional. Cricket is a way of our life. We have all grown up watching cricket, and we have a lot of strong emotions attached with cricket. And you know how to, table that up or tone it down, right?
Correct.
Sometimes when the mood is against it, then you just lie low, right? And when he comes back, you just throw back the association. And I think that's very commonsensical. But yeah, I mean, sports, it's obvious. One day, not every day, you can score and score and score. That's life.
Correct.
And you learn as a marketer how to dabble with it.
Correct. And you did fantastic, not just with Virat Kohli, but also with Arsenal, who didn't even make it to top 4 anyway. They're global sponsors.
But with Manchester City, they are. So, that's what it is. Similarly, Royal Challengers Bangalore we signed last year. We thought that they might be the first club. They might just win the IPL with us.
Correct.
I felt during the tournament that the first victory is coming, and that's with Puma. Didn't happen. If it would have happened, we would have tom-tommed that.
Fantastic. Really amazing stories about influencer marketing that you mentioned. One thing I can't end this conversation without mentioning is your entry into metaverse and what's in store there on that front, and how much energy are you actually devoting to that?
The truth with metaverse is it's a reality, right? Because all of us in the business today know that the world is going towards that. People want a part of that, part of a digital piece. Especially the young consumer. And it is very important for global iconic brands to have that as a part of their strategy. That's exactly what we are doing. But what we are also very specifically doing is that we're also fusing the world of metaverse with actual reality. So consumers, so if you look at our Black Station platform, which is which has digital experiences, people also stand to have, people can actually use that to have access to real products. So how do you fuse the world of metaverse with physical? Because actually, unless the physical world is there, you can't represent and own a piece of it digitally. So how do brands actually fuse the two is going to be very, very interesting.
Correct. One last question. What is it that you mentioned about the science and art congregation that we are talking about, and we've been talking about it throughout the day. You said metaverse is reality. We started the day saying MarTech is marketing. And that's been the journey of the day so far. I'm sure Dilen and Anshul and Shashank next will put some new perspective to it. But I want to ask you, what is it that you are more focused on when we say this congregation of art and science? And are you losing sleep about it?
No, actually, you don't lose sleep over it with given where we are. But what I'll take a bit of non-just MarTech view on this, on business, and say what gets a brand to a certain place, even if we might have whatever share of the market today, which might be pretty good.
Yeah.
What got us here will not keep us here. Okay. What the world teaches you today is that if you're not future thinking, you cannot rest on your laurels, to keep it very simple. What got us here will never keep us here. So you constantly move, you constantly look ahead, you constantly rehash your strategy. If your strategy is not fast, nimble, and always trying to look into the future, you will suddenly end up in a zone where you're not progressing. So
right.
If you're not progressing ahead, you might fall even if you're at the top.
Correct.
So whether it is marketing, whether the science, art, whether you're solving for consumers, I think one purpose of business is to constantly think, where am I headed? How am I solving for my consumers? And how am I appealing to my consumers in the most effective and convenient way?
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you very much, Abhishek, for your time, and thank you, the lovely audience that you were. Please stay with us for the remaining 2 sessions. Even at 3,000 crore, he said that he is not going to rest on his laurels, and I think that's my takeaway. Thank you very much.